Alright. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing. Alright. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing. Alright, that should be good. Okay, let me just boot up VC Face here. Hold on, let me disable streamer mode on my Discord. That gets really aggravating for me personally. Okay, and yeah. Hello, everybody! Oops. Let me try this again. Hello, everybody. Oh, wait a minute. 1 second. Hello, everybody. Grant Scarborough here, and welcome to this weekend's stream where I'll be finally beating the Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I've been playing quite a bit. I've played it quite a bit during the hiatus with some of the free time I had. Aside from working on Combophon, I did play a bit of, like, during my breaks at work and such, I was playing Super Mario Wonder quite a bit, and as you can see, I've almost beaten it. I've gotten all 6 of these. I forgot what they're called, but yeah. And let's go with Days this time around.
Let's go!
So yeah, as you can see, as you saw earlier, I have finally managed to get, as you can see, I got all 6 of those, and now we are here to handle the final world and the boss, and to beat the main story of the game. Yeah, and I'm going to be also, and of course I'm also going to be talking about the, and as I do this, I will also be talking about the Walking with Dinosaurs 2025 reboot, because it's now, all 6 episodes have now aired here in the United States. Granted, it originally aired in the UK a few weeks prior to that, but now I feel more comfortable discussing it since I got to see it myself on TV in full on PBS, so yeah. But first, let's just start off this level and see how things go. And once we get into the swing things, that's when I'll talk about the reboot. And I'm just going to say this right now. Things are not, my thoughts on it are not what you think it's going to be. Let's just say that.
Well, look who it is! You must be really excited to see the amazing, no, the epic wonder I'm preparing. You have to wait a bit longer, though. Perfection takes time. How about you just enjoy the opening acts that my army has ready for you? That's your cue, Missile Megs. Get out there and show how dangerous a show can be.
Alright, let's begin. Here we go.
Here we go!
So, yeah, I also got my dinner with me right here. Little tofu nuggets and such. I'm just waiting for those to cool down as well. But first of all, does the sound... Hold on a second. Let me see if the sound bouncing is good enough.
Here we go!
So, yeah. Yep, that sounds good. Let's begin. Bubbles! Bubbles! Oh, I thought I was about to hit there. Oh, 1 second. Yeah. I love... Oh! Those respawn a lot faster than I expected. I'll take those. But yeah, so when it comes to the reboot of Walking with Dinosaurs, personally, I find it honestly was rather disappointing to see how, like, I know that, like, it wasn't, I was pretty sure it wasn't going to be, like, a complete one-on-one comparison. Let's get that. Oh, hold on a second. Let's see here. Okay. Alright, let's try that again. But yeah, starting off the first episode surrounding the Triceratops named Clover. Like, that one, like, I'm actually not going to go talk about each episode, but more around just the series itself. Like, I'm almost certain that this series did not have, like, the same budget that Prehistoric Planets did. Also, for those who are wondering, the reason why I never made a review for Prehistoric Planets' second season was because, simply put, the Season 2 solved a lot of the problems I actually had with Season 1. You know, they found that they went around to they got around, because actually, okay, let me explain. So, starting with Prehistoric Planets' second season that happened in 2023, the reason I never made a review for that was, like I said, it solved a lot of the problems that I actually had with it. Mainly, like, it actually gave some inclusion for animals like, for groups such as Pachycephalosaurs and Nodosuchians. You know, you got Pachycephalosaurus, Homocephaly, Cymosuchus, and so on. So, that was one of the bigger issues, because I feel like there was, like a bit of an imbalance in the first season, so they really did fix that. I really do think they fixed that in the Okay, let's see. Alright, we're starting to run low on lives. Let's stop that now. Thankfully, they fixed that, though. But now going back to the Walking with Dinosaurs reboot, so to speak, is that they really... Like, for one, with the CGI, like I said, I know this didn't have the budget of I'm almost certain it didn't have the budget of Prehistoric Planets, and that's fine. Like, most of the models in the CGI are passable enough. They do a decent enough job, like, because for one, like, and they at least try and stay true mostly at least to the science itself and be as credible as possible, except for one episode, sort of. But I'll save that discussion for later. Oh, I gotta fly on these, that's why. Oh, there we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. Ooh, what do we have here? Nope, I'm gonna go in the pipe. Actually, I'll discuss the scientific accuracy of for a time, like as in right now, the scientific accuracy for Walking with Dinosaurs 2025 is pretty good. The only major issue I had with it came in the third episode, where, like, and I know I can't remember the episode names off the top of my head right away, I'm sorry, but, like, in episode 3, where the Utahraptor, like, flips over an entire Gastonia. Granted, the Gastonia that wasn't George, but one of the other Gastonia males was an adolescent, but even with Utahraptor's size, I find it kind of questionable that they'd be able to... I find it kind of questionable that they would be able to, like, lift, like, you know, like, an animal weighing... Sorry for stuttering. Like an animal weighing about a ton. So, I do think that is a little bit much. Also, that and Clover, the baby Triceratops, or juvenile Triceratops, rather, actually has, like, way too much plot armor as... Okay, that was my bad. Has way too much plot armor as well. Like, Clover getting lucky, making a lucky escape from a T-Rex once would have worked in episode 1, but... Oops. But that would... Like, if it was done once, they do it twice. And the way they do it just feels way too goofy, in my opinion. Like, sure. Clover, you know, like, especially with Clover, like, escaping in the log, like, that just feels feels a little bit too convenient. Like, T-Rex, like, the T-Rex failing to grab Clover out in the open like that, I could almost kind of see it because, you know, not all... Come on. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Time to get trippy! But anywho. like I said, like, the T-Rex failing to grab Clover that second time, that sounds believable enough, because not... Like, if either one of those occasions happened, like, I would have been more forgiving, but... Like, they do it twice in the same episode, that just feels way too nice. Okay, on second thought, I will actually discuss my thoughts in each episode individually. And to make sure nobody... and make sure none of the audience asks, I'll just, hold on a second, I'll just bring up the Wikipedia page, so I have the episode names right there. It was also wasn't until today that I actually learned that... It actually wasn't until today that I learned that that there was actually 2 extra bits of Prehistoric Planet content in the form of, like, VR documentaries that I have not seen before. They require, like, an Apple Vision Pro or whatever, which I don't have. But... Okay, here are The Orphan, River Dragon, Band of Brothers, The Pack, The Journey North, and Island of Giants. Again, starting off with The Orphan, I already discussed the issue of the plot armor Clover has. But I also just feel like it's way too convenient. Again, like, way too convenient for Clover to just make it through there. Also, the Edmontosaurus they show in that have that, you know, fleshy comb on the heads. At least the males do. And that's true of Edmontosaurus regalis from the Campanian species. Not the Maastrichtian species, though. We don't have necessarily any solid evidence for that in the Maastrichtian species, aka Edmontosaurus annectens, which was once known as Anatosaurus. Now, it doesn't mean that they didn't have those fleshy combs. We don't know for certain, but it just feels like, to me, that's just due to the budget issues. And I know I can't be too harsh on it there for the budget issues, but come on, all they had to do was just briefly alter the model like they do for the Albertosaurus and Gorgosaurus later on. Come on, gotta jump. Ouch! But yeah, like, the first episode wasn't bad. It just felt way too contrived at points, so to speak. If that's the right word, contrived. Yeah. Like, going back to a bigger issue I have with the series is its pacing, where it just goes back and forth way too much between, like, you know, the dinosaur segments, you know, in prehistory and such, and the paleontology segments. When I don't feel like those paleontology segments were necessary at all, when they have, like, their uncovered segments, like that uncovered segment at the end of each episode. Like, they should have just kept the paleontology stuff for that, so they could spend more time on the dinosaur stuff. But, again, it feels like, to me, that... Okay, actually, I'm gonna be a bit harsh on it, despite the budget cuts, because, again, these were both this and Prehistoric Planet were done by the BBC. Partially. They did, but in the case of Prehistoric Planet, they had probably a lot more budget with the help of guys like Apple TV and such. And it just really does remind me about, like, it's almost akin to the Colossal Direwolf situation, albeit in a different sense, but the message is still the same, in that, like, both Colossal's Direwolf fiasco and the subpar quality of the Welcome of Dinosaurs reboot are pretty much in the same way, due to how science is just, you know, funding for actual scientific research just getting cut across the Western Hemisphere, mainly the United States. And of course, Trump and the Republicans aren't the only ones to blame for that. The Democrats also have their blame in it for not being proper opposition to the Republicans. Obviously. But I know some people don't like hearing politics getting talked about here, even though everything's political in one way or another, so I'll just leave it at that. But getting back to this. Yeah, but, like, again, The Orphan as an episode wasn't bad, it just felt like way too contrived at parts. But yeah. Episode 2, The River Dragon, is actually one that I would consider probably the best of the 6. Because it has, like, it has a bit of a, like, a, it doesn't feel too clean. Like, I should mention this about The Orphan, is that, like, it feels a little too clean at parts. like, the beginning's pretty good in terms of, like, we don't know, like, it has some nice ambiguity as to how Orphan ended up, like, you know, how Clover ended up as an orphan from her herd, so to speak, or a family group or whatever. Even though the social dynamics of Triceratops are rather tricky. But oh! Nope, not having that! Hold on a second. Good night. You know, I don't wanna... Oh! Yep, nope, that's a bad idea. Oh, not dealing with that. Oh, I'll take that. There we go. Bubbles! Shocking, I know. Anyways. Moving on to the River Dragon, it's probably the best episode of the 6, because mainly because, like, it combines, like, a bittersweet ending with really good, paleontological information and such. Like, it still suffers from the issue of the pacing and how, like, the paleontology segments have way too much relevance in here, when it could just be discussed away by narration. And yet, because again, the uncovered segments, that is what the paleontology segments should be saved for. And I know they were trying to go for something more akin to, like, the Battle of Big Al, which is fine, but even then I still felt like they went too far with, like, having the paleontological segments overshadow things. And I can't help but feel like, again, this was just due to budgetary issues that the BBC... Honestly, actually, now I think about it, the BBC could have afforded to do a lot more and just run this reboot series at a loss, but nope. Another thing hurting this series is that, like, while I am fine with a new way of telling the story, they should have kept to more of a chronological order. We have only one late Jurassic episode in this reboot, one early Cretaceous episode, and 4 late Cretaceous episodes. Whereas the original had 1 late Triassic episode, 2 late Jurassic episodes, 1 late Triassic episode, New Blood, 2 in the late Jurassic with Time of Titans and Cruel Sea, 2 in the early Cretaceous with, you know, Giant of the Skies and the Spirits of the Ice Forest, and then 1 in the late Cretaceous with... Ooh, I'll take that. Should have grabbed that 10 coin or whatever. Ooh, this is nice. Nice. Ooh. Elephant, please.
Here we go!
Come on. Damn it, I can't go back for it. Whatever. Let's go back to the bubbles. Okay, come on. Come on. Come on. No. Hold on a second. But yeah, and then the late Cretaceous had just 1 episode, Death of a Dynasty. Where again, it's completely unbalanced in the... Hold on a second, my only complaint is that the Onchopristius' tail doesn't seem to be very, like a real softish tail. I prefer the Onchopristius from Plant Dinosaur. That's actually a pretty decent observation from what I've heard. Yeah, good point there, Mr. Wongfong, very good. I also... Again, like, and I'm pretty sure the only reason they didn't do a Triassic episode is because, you know, back in the Triassic and even Jurassic, there weren't any flowering plants. Not, let alone grass. So because of that, they had to, whereas grass and flowers were both around by the late Cretaceous. So that's what this really does feel like. Whereas, if I had more budget, they probably would have been able to, like, you know, CGI out a lot of the flowers and grass and such. And even then, like, you know, they went to, like, places like New Caledonia for some of the episodes of the original series. And I know for, you know, the River Dragon, they went to southern Portugal, so they had the budget to do, you know, overseas travel for this series. Damn it, I missed 3 coins. Oh well, oh well.
Here we go!
Also, going back to what I was talking about with, like, you know, like, with the late Triassic stuff, like, you know, when Dinosaurs roamed America from 2001, I believe, like, that did that on a much lower budget than the original series of Walking with Dinosaurs had at the time. Oh, there we go. And perfectly timed! But anywho. Yeah, like, they went to, like, New Caledonia and places like that with like, plenty of, like, basal plants and such for, like, filming episodes like New Blood and Cruel Sea. So they could have definitely have done it. They could have definitely have done that here. So it's just baffling they didn't. But at the same time, probably just due all down to, you know, the massive funding of science. Because you gotta remember, Walking with Dinosaurs, both the original series and this one, were done in collaboration with PBS. You know, public broadcasting, which tend to not really have a ton of finances of perfectly timed. A lot of the finances that private capital can provide in, you know what, in a capitalist economy. Hence why Prehistoric Planet had such beautiful CG and such. Whereas, because of the worsening conditions of society, so to speak, that's probably why they couldn't really afford much for this reboot series. And I'm gonna be honest, one more thing before I talk about get back to episode 2 in full, is that the series is that, like, I can't help but feel like BBC also just tried to wing it with this reboot, because, like, they saw Prehistoric Planet become a big success, and they were like, oh shit, 2024 is going to be the 25th anniversary of Walking with Dinosaurs. We gotta do something about that. And they just went to, and made the 2025 series, even though, like, they wouldn't be able to get it done in time for 2024, even though that's the year Walking with Dinosaurs, like, and I don't mind it being delayed to 2025 or whatever, that's totally fine. But it just feels like a lot of this just feels rushed. But going back to the episode of Sobek, the Spinosaurus of the River Dragon, I also feel it's the best because you could also be a little bit more flexible with Spinosaurus due to how, oddly enough, how contentious a lot of, like, the debate about how Spinosaurus behaved and hunted goes. Because every time people are going to be saying, no, it hunts like a heron! And it was mainly terrestrial and only waded around in the water. For every argument you find there, you're gonna find one that's like, no, it hunted like a crocodilian! It hunted like a crocodile! And it barely even walked bipedally! It only barely walked bipedally, it couldn't run very well on land at all! And then the other side's gonna say, no, the flattened tail is for display, it's not for swimming! They decided to go with the more crocodile. They tried to go for a middle ground approach to how Spinosaurus lived in the River Dragon, and I really love that. You know, they tried to be as respectful to both sides as possible here because of how contentious the topic is, and they were able to get away with it a bit more. So I thought they were actually really clever with that. I'm not sure if, like, the trees of the southern Portuguese location they were filming at were there during the Kem, or, like, those kinds of conifers, so to speak. I know, like, large tree ferns were there, but I don't think those are a staple of southern Portugal. Hold on, let me take a look at it real quick. Excuse me. Kem. Okay, yeah, I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page. I'm just trying to see if I can find... No, it doesn't talk about... No, they don't list down, like, the paleoflora for it. Let me take a look here. The Alphos Formation, maybe? Age, vertebra, assemblage... Let me see here. That's weird. Almost... Okay, they don't discuss it here, but... Oh, let me take a look at the, Oh, wait a minute. I know. Let me just look up what, I'm going to look at Joshua Canupe's, or, Paleo Stream's, restoration of the Kem. Hold on a moment. Let me try and find it on DeviantArt real fast. Give me a moment, alright? Let's just see here. Aha! Here we are! Alright, now I just gotta find his piece for the Kem, because he did do one for the Kem recently. Moravino, Pleistocene Flores... No. St. Bathans... Gigantopithecus fauna, no. Hell Creek, no. This is, okay, we got the Baharia Formation, which is from Egypt, not Morocco, so it's not the Kem, but it should be close enough. Yeah, I see similar looking trees. Yeah, okay, yeah. That'll do. In Planet Dinosaur, it said that Spinosaurus lived more like a crocodile than all the other killer dinosaurs. That's very much true, yeah. I'm of the belief that of almost why not both. Now, I am not a professional paleontologist in the slightest, but I went looking at the biology, looking at like the anatomy of Spinosaurus and such, like how it likely had webbed feet and so on, and like the discovery of like the paddle-like tail and such. I wouldn't be surprised if it, like, you know, hunted by wading around the water like a heron just as much as it did swimming after its prey, like preferring to basically hunt at the water's edge, but was more than willing to go swimming for prey should push come to shove. Like, so I like how they did almost a mix of both in a sense. That's what it looked like to me in the River Dragon episode. And I love this the brutally bittersweet ending as well, where yes, Sobek got his offspring to the much bigger lake, but he died from that fight from the brief fight with the other Spinosaurus. Like, because, like, if modern crocodilians are anything to speak of, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, because, like, if Sobek, I heard some people complain, like, I'm not naming namers or anything, but I've heard some people complain, and I'll respect their opinion, that, like, oh, Sobek's babies would have died of starvation. I'm like, personally though, it's like, Sobek took him out of the nursery and brought them to that river for a reason, and was not just because of, you know, finding more prey. Like, it definitely seemed like also because these chicks were about to be able to fend for themselves just a little bit more, because like, in crocodilians, for instance, like, they don't... Let's see if I can... There's something up there. Sobek's... Because, like, in the case of crocodilians, like, the mother doesn't provide for her chicks, like food and such. She only provides protection for the hatchlings for a set period of time before they go off on their own. It seems like Spinosaurs are probably similar to that in a sense, so Sobek's offspring would have been able to feed themselves, most likely. But yeah, Sobek as an episode, like, if I were to give, like, The Orphan a 6 out of 10, I would probably give The River Dragon an 8. So yeah, The River Dragon is pretty good, and probably the only episode of the series I would happily rewatch. As for Band of Brothers, it's about on par with The Orphan, though. Not only because of, like, Utahraptor, like, being able to flip, like, an adolescent Gastonia on its back. Like, I know Utahraptor is one of the biggest dromaeosaurs, but still, it's ridiculous in my eyes. Oh, I thought it was in the background. Oh, I get it now. Okay. Damn it, I thought I'd be able to clear that. But yeah, Band of Brothers, which focuses mainly on, you know, Utahraptor Gastonia, the episode almost feels like a loose remake in the sense of the, this is going to sound weird, but the Jurassic Fight Club episode, Raptor's Last Stand, albeit somewhat better, of course, than that Jurassic Fight Club episode. As bad as Jurassic Fight Club was as a show, like, Raptor's Last Stand was one of the better episodes of that. And it kind of, again, Band of Brothers as an episode kind of feels like a loose remake of that. In a good way, of course, in this case at least. Which is kind of rare I would actually say something good about Jurassic Fight Club, but there you go. Although I will also mention one more thing about the River Dragons, that, like, it actually has, it's you know, the scene where Sobek and the one Carcharodontosaurus square off is actually, you know, really good. Like, they don't fight to the death or anything like that, which would have been an interesting scene to itself, but I like how they don't do that in a sense to show that it's like, these are animals, not mindless monsters. Like, that I do like. Alright. You grab it. Oh, no, you. Whoa, come on. Oh, ooh, got that good. No. Hold on, let me see here. Floating high jump. Let's go with that instead. Okay, that was stupid as well. Fuck it. But yeah, I like how... yeah. But again, it just shows how, like, these are animals and such. I actually don't mind them not naming the Titanosaur in, the River Dragon, because that episode there feels like, because they do have Titanosaur remains from the Chem, but they're indeterminate, so I can let that slide. At least at the time at the time of the stream. So, yeah. Another thing I really like. Okay, going back to Band of Brothers as an episode, like, mainly my big problem comes in the form of that one scene where not only where the Gastonia gets flipped on its back by a lone Utahraptor, but also like the Utahraptor. Hold on a second. Okay, I know for a fact that Yeah, Planoxia. No. Planicoxa. Yeah, Planicoxa. Like, they don't do anything of Planicoxa, you know, this one ornithopod dinosaur that they really should have. You know, they could have, you know, done something like have this ornithopod. Like, they just have it like, oh, they show up, they barely react to the hunting going on right next to them. And then they basically become almost cannon fodder for the Utahraptor, except they aren't hunted. We don't see them get hunted on screen. Like, that was just such a waste. And again, like, we barely see any species, any variety of species in these episodes, which, again, probably just goes back to them not having enough of a budget to actually make this fully work. I'm going to get that. You know what? I don't have time for that, so screw it. Yeah, like, we only see Utahraptor, like, we see only Utahraptor, Planicoxa, and Gastonia in that episode. Like, nothing, like, there's so much you could do with the Cedar Mountain formation there. You got, like, Valkyrius, Iguana Colossus, multiple sauropods, but they just waste it all, and I don't even think waste is the right word, because, again, I feel like it's just due to science being, public funding for science being cut everywhere, all while giving the military-industrial complex tons of money. Okay, I know I didn't want to mention politics too much there, but I had to say it. Ooh, we got one up out of that. That's good. Yeah. And that's not to mention, like, you know what? Hold on a second. That's not to mention how, you know what? Let me just look up Cedar Mountain. And I gotta make something really clear. The Cedar Mountain formation, there are different parts of it. I'm mainly referring to the Yellow Cat member, but let me look at this real quick. Yeah, like, again, there isn't just Utahraptor. It's not just Utahraptor, that one ornithopod, and Gastonia. Again, you have Iguana Colossus, at least 3 sauropods, an Orthomimosaur, Valkyrius, an early Therizinosaur. They just waste all that, but again, waste is probably not a good word to use there, because it probably just didn't have much of a budget to work with. That's just my predictions, though. Like, that's just my predictions, though. And I know some are going to argue that we've been spoiled by Prehistoric Planet, and that's probably true. Although, fun fact, not facts, but I'm pretty sure, is that the studio actually helped to make Prehistoric Planet was shut down not long after Season 2 was done, so that really sucks. I wouldn't be surprised if private equity had something to do with that. Time for that. Oh, nope, not touching that. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not. Okay, you know what? That's better. There we go. Now I can have a chance to fight back. Whoa, nope, okay, and now! There we go. Oops. Whoa. Oh god. Okay, come on. Pump it. Pump it. Pump it up. Pump it up. There we go. Hold on a second. I got a text. Let me just answer that. Alright, that's done. Okay, so back to what I was saying is that the other thing I actually don't like about it is how they have Utahraptor, like, they just go with the generic thing of Utahraptor being a pack hunter. The whole Dromaeosaurus being pack hunter things has been pretty contentious itself, and I would argue that, like, the bigger species might have not, like, Utahraptor being an apex predator like that probably might have not even need to have been a pack hunter to begin with. Because, like, they seem to just think, oh, they really do try to milk that Jurassic Park idea. When, like, don't get me wrong, I do genuinely believe that some genre or species of Dromaeosaurs would be pack hunters akin to wolves in a sense, or at least akin to Harris's hawks, the Harris's hawk populations of the southern United States. Those do hunt in sort of packs, in loose packs. I do genuinely believe there were at least some non-avian predatory dinosaurs that did hunt like that. And, spoiler alert, they would also do the same thing with the Albertosaurus later on. Oh, no. Oh, I'm just going to take that real quick. Okay. This is what I'm a little confused here. Oh, okay. Time it just right! Ouch! Ow. Come on. Okay. No. Fuck! All 6 episodes. Yeah, okay. Back to what I was saying, though, like, the Utahraptor design itself is... The Utahraptor designs themselves are not bad, and I kind of like how they use magpie sounds, in a sense. Or at least partial, like, magpie sounds as part of their calls, because that's at least a bird reference. But I do like how, yeah, they do that. And the design itself is pretty good, it's like fully feathered as it should be and such. Again, though, I just don't like how they actually have Utahraptor hunting in packs. Like, it would have been more interesting if they had Utahraptor be like the solitary hunting Dromaeosaur, or perhaps having smaller Dromaeosaurs. Maybe. Because there is another one from the Cedar Mountain Formation, at least. Vuchia Doelingai? Like, that one's only about half the size of Utahraptor. And I know, like, there are been, like, many Utahraptor fossils found with tons of, like, a bunch of them bundled together, so there might have been something akin to pack hunting there, but, again, it's just pretty iffy. Like, again, I do genuinely believe that some dinosaurs had mammalian-like social behaviors, but I highly doubt it was the norm. boosting spin jump. Let's just go with that. That's better. Come on. Come on. Jump. Come on. Yeah. Come on. No, 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 no. There we go. A family group of YouTube... maybe. But yeah, Band of Brothers, like, what I do, again, the YouTube Raptor, the portrayals of their social behaviors, like, the way it's done, I feel like is what holds it back a lot. What I do like about this episode, though, much akin to the River Dragon, is the ending, where it's a very bittersweet one, involving the, you know, like, how George, the Gastonia, and his fellow herdmates, you know, heavy armor weighs him down and causes them to die of inhaling too much smoke because they can't outrun the fire, while the Utahraptors themselves get stuck in quicksand. Like, it's a sort of melancholic, how do you say it, term, so to speak. Here we go. Excuse me. Yeah, what did you think, dumbass? Oh shit, we're down to just the last life. Okay, that was my fault, I will admit. supposed to be a shortcut to there? Coins galore? Well, let's take this opportunity real quick while I move on to episode 4. Excuse me. The pack. It's a similar thing. It's a similar issue to, like, Band of Brothers. I'd say it's about on par with Band of Brothers. Oh. Okay, thank you for the coins. I think Band of Brothers is similar. No, the pack's similar to Band of Brothers in that, like, I really don't know if they're, like, I think they overemphasize the pack aspect too much of the Albertosaurus. Okay, got 2 extra lives out of that. That'll be useful. Anyways. Like, I do like how Rose is, I do like Rose's plight for a bit, but I also kind of confused by how I am kind of confused about, like, why Rose's mate just, like, gets killed by a stampede of Edmontosaurus. Like, on the one, I'm kind of conflicted on that. On the one hand, it would show how, like, they have sort of a more crocodilian way of They would have more of a crocodilian way of hunting, not like they just do sort of like a loose mobbing rather than a coordinated attack. But on the other hand, it does look really silly on how it occurs on screen itself. Otherwise, it's okay enough. But again, I just don't feel like they do enough, like, they don't show enough species outside of, like... Okay, that was my fault. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for a moment. Now I run! There we go. Like that. Oh, no! Oh, that was close. Whoa! Okay. What the hell? Okay, now we're really going to acid trip territory. No, what the? Oh, right, you gotta climb. I gotta climb. For now, yes. Bowser, is that you? Oh. You can't even when King Boo gets scared, you can't stop singing. Oh god. What the hell's going on? So yeah, I'd say I'd probably give the pack the same rating as the I'd say it's probably a little better than Band of Brothers, but similar to Band of Brothers, I'd probably give the pack a 6 out of 10 as well. Maybe a 7 on a good day. It's okay-ish. I think the weakest episode's actually the next one after that, which is the Journey North, because according to what I found recently in some research, there haven't been any, like the whole thing about, like, dinosaurs migrating and such is a bit far-fetched, over-exaggerated and stuff like that, because it used to be thought that, like, oh, the dinosaurs from the Prince Creek Formation migrated further south to Alberta, when it turns out, like, the main dinosaurs we think of that were... I can't... Okay. Ah, there we go. Oh, what's next? Oh, here we are, the final boss. Well, hold on a second. Before I discuss more about this, I want to quickly get out of the way, in case this boss happens to be any easy or too hard or whatever. Let me just quickly mention, I'm just going to quickly speed through my other thoughts on, like, the Journey North and the Island of Giants. The Journey North, I feel like, is probably the weakest episode because of just, like, how the flash flood causes basically, like, not, like, I don't mind the Gorgosaurus being a reskin of the Albertosaurus as long as it made some changes to it, which it kind of did. But, like, the part about the flash flood and such, like, it just cuts to black. Like, it just cuts to black and just goes right to the fossils. Like, that's nowhere near as impactful as us seeing the actual flash flood itself and the chaos that ensues with it. Which goes back to how it probably just didn't have the budget to pull it off. Like, compare this to, like, Death of a Dynasty from the original series. In Death of a Dynasty, like, we didn't see, like, tons of fire and brimstone from the Chicxulub impact, but we did see, you know, like, the T-Rex hatchlings, or the baby T-Rexes getting blasted away by, like, you know, the shockwave, followed by the dead mother, and, you know, then you see, like, molten ejecta falling from the sky. It's at least something that shows, like, the horrors of the apocalyptic KPG mass extinction event. Here, we don't really see that outside of, whereas in the Journey North, we don't see that flash flood event outside of just some thunder, some rumbling, and, like, the flash flood approaching. Like, it just cuts right to black, and that's just nowhere near as impactful. Whereas if they had a higher budget, they probably would have shown, like, this is going to sound a little morbid, but, like, a really gruesome scene of, like, you know, the Pachyrhinosaurus and Gorgosaurus both being wiped out completely, and they have to, like, soften the blow by showing, like, I mean, I'm glad they stick to paleontology by showing how, like, some of these dinosaurs probably did survive and such, but they just play it way too safe here. Whereas, you know, like, even in Planet Dinosaur, like, that one episode, hold on a second, what was it called? Give me a second. What was it called? Hold on. The episode titled... Excuse me. Which one was it? It was called... Which one? Yeah, from Last Killers. The segment with their Albertosaurus and... Was it... And Centrosaurus, I believe, yeah. Like... They actually show it, you know, then Chasmosaurus and so on. I think that was it. Or it might have been, you know, whichever one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they showed, like, a Deinosuchus taking advantage of, like, the rapid waters and snatching up, like, some of these ceratopsian dinosaurs, like how now crocodiles do with wildebeest in Africa today. Like, they don't do any of that either. Like, it could have been cool to see, like, you know, maybe, like, you see, or maybe even see like a dead mosasaur that got caught up in the flash flood as it approached or something, like a freshwater mosasaur, something like that. Or if the fossils support it, I'm not entirely sure there, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no, again, I feel like they just played too safe here. Partially in this case due to the low budgets, but also because, again, just because of how overkill shows, much worse shows like Jurassic Fight Club went. Actually, Despleosaurus, thank you, Mr. Wanapong, yeah. Thankfully, though, like, the series did end on, I wouldn't say a super high note, but they ended on something a bit more interesting with Island of Giants and the Lucid Titan. I love how they use, like, they show the Lucid Titan using, like, infrasound to communicate over many miles. By, you know, like, the old male named Grande, you know, stomping his front feet into the ground to get the feel the vibrations. And they explain how they don't show the paleontology segments. They do it via the narration, saying that it's similar to how... no problem, Mr. Yeah, of course, Mr. Wampong. But they do it similar to how elephants do so today with their use of infrasound. We can't sense it, but, like, large, towering hulks of animals like elephants and large sauropods could. So, that's a good attention to detail. And, you know, I do think it ends on a bit too happy of a note in one... Okay, not super happy, too happy of a note, because they do show, like... you could infer it one way or another, how, like, Grande and his mate, supposedly, are the ones that are dead when they get fossilized and such. Or are the ones fossilized, like, on the one hand, like, it might feel like, oh, it's too sappy, like, they died together as a loving mated pair, and that while still laying eggs at the same time. Like, on the one hand, yeah, it does feel too sappy, but on the other hand, you could interpret it as it being, like, tragic that, you know, they may have died, like, almost immediately after they laid their eggs or something. It's a little confusing, but the Lucid Titan episode, I would have given it, like, a 7, but, like, it goes down to a 6 because, ironically enough, because of the Uncovered segment, where they show, like, extra footage of, like, Brachiosaurus, but what's flying over the Brachiosaurus look like fucking Pteranodon. And I'm like, wow, that is unforgivable. Like, that is just a whole level of lazy. And I get, they were probably on a tight budget. But do you think they would have fact-checked this? Again, I'm not going to make the conclusion that those were Pteranodon, but still. So yeah, like the series overall, maybe like a 6. Hold on a second, I'm going to do the math. Fuck it, I'm going to do the math. 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6, and divide all that, I believe, by average by, I believe, divide all by 6, you would get, no, but that's not how you figure it out. Let me try this again, hold on. 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6 equals 37, and then divide that by 6, and you would get, about 6, like about, no, that's not it either. Hold on. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Actually, no, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I did get the average. Like, the average rating would be like a 6 out of 10. Or, if I'm being generous... Hold on a second. If I'm being generous, and if I were to give... It'd be more like 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 7 equal to 38, and divide that by 6, like, it would be, yeah, more of 7, yeah, 6 out of 10 type stuff. Yeah, so yeah, the series was just a major disappointment, and it just feels like it just didn't have the budget to pull it off, and it also just felt rushed. Because they wanted to capitalize on Walking with Dinosaurs' 25th anniversary, and yet they couldn't even do that on time. Like, please, again, though, please don't go harassing anybody who worked on this series or anything like that. That's not what I want. I'm just giving my honest opinion. Though, from what I've seen, like, they might actually be releasing that on Blu-ray at least. The reboot and such. I don't think I can save my progress right now. There we go. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 2, 1, jump! Damn it! Damn it, I missed. 2, 1. Might as well explain, with that out of the way, might as well explain how Combathon is going. And so far it's so good. I pretty much got the armatures all done except for the feet. Once the armatures are, once I get the feet onto those armatures, I can then start creating the fabric parts of the dolls. And hopefully I'll have that done by the end of June so I can get the casting call out. And once that's done by like mid-July, I can put together the script for the first episode and have the first episode done by the end of August. Oh, shit! Okay. Fuck. Let's go with this instead. One, two, three, jump! Ah, shit. 1, 2, 3, jump! 3, jump! Whoop. 1, 2, 3, jump! 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 2, 3, jump! 1, 2, 3, jump! 1, 2, 3, jump! 1, 2, 3, jump! Jump. 1, 2, jump. Here we go. 2, 3, jump. Ah, shit. Damn it. 1, 2, 3, jump. 1, 2, 3, jump! 3, jump! Whoa, shit! Ow! One, two, three, jump! 1, 2, 3, 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 jump! Oh. Oh, that's good. I'll take that. Oh, shit! Jump! 2, 3, jump! Come on. Oh, God. Here we go. There we go. Here we go. Run. Yeah. we go. The Emperor has no clothes, buddy. It's like a deflating balloon. I'll take that. No. Oh. I thought it was... All 7 are now together, and... And now that's one game that I can check off my backlog list. Now I got other games I have to get through, such as Infamous. Got to play through Infamous 2. I'll be finishing up Infamous hopefully next week. And it's only 9:30, so this has been a rather short stream. Don't know why Daisy isn't next to Peach, but okay. Oh, this is a cute little cred scene. No, no, ah, ah, ah! Oh, I see, okay.
Wonder where snow comes from?
It's a form of precipitation that comes down mostly when the upper levels of the atmosphere are somewhat warm, but when the ground below is cool. I think that's how it works. Oh, can I actually get electrocuted too? Oh, it's more chance. Oh, I can actually lose stars that way. Oh shit. That's a little gimmick.
1, 2, 3, jump! 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 1, 2, 3, jump!
go! Oh! Good they have the wing, good they have the cat parachute. No, you don't. Get back here! Ugh, shit. No, get back here! Ugh. There we go. No, no! Ugh.
And we all lived happily ever after. Come back again sometime, yeah?
This was charming. This was cute. And now starting tomorrow, I gotta start grinding a lot in the first Infamous game so I can get to the ending in time for next week's stream. And right now, I'm still busy doing stuff like job searching for the summer and so on. Especially since never mind. And I have to also work on Combathon done and so on. Yeah. Yeah, this isn't anything new. Okay, so that'll be it for this stream. It's only been about 3/4 of what it should be in terms of length, but this will still do just fine. Thank you all so much for watching. Combathon, again, the casting call club thing for Combathana, that should start at the end of June. So keep your eyes out on Casting Call Club in less than 2 weeks out. It should be up by then. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.